Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Comic Shop Talk on the Late Night Collectors community. I'm your host, Nico, and joined with me today, as always, my co-host, Chris. How you doing?
Hey, not too bad. How are you?
I'm okay. Enjoying the weekend, and looking forward to talking about some comics here, as always. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel here, everybody. You can check out our hundreds of videos here that we got on the channel, all kinds of different types of stuff other than Comic Shop Comic Shop Talk as well in our playlist. Make sure to like and subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, hit the notification bell to be notified when these videos drop. The days that they comes out every week is not consistent based on our schedules. So you can also follow us on Instagram. You can look at the little videos we upload on there as well, showing off our comics that we pick up week to week. And that's at Late Night Collectors Community. And this week, we're going to be talking about the new comics that came out for the week of May 29th, 2024, last week of the month here, as we get into the summer here. And as always, spoiler warning, guys, make sure, if you're worried about getting spoiled about something, we are going to be talking about what happened in the books. We're going to be showing off some of the art. So you can always read your books and come back if you're worried about that. All right, Chris.
All right. Let's talk comics.
Talk some comics. Cheers. All right. First up on the docket here today, you got the conclusion of Rise of the Powers of X, number 5 here. The conclusion of this miniseries before the X-Men 35 issue, I think it is, wrapping up the Krakoa era of the mutants. What do you think, Chris?
Well, I don't know. Like you say, all this Phoenix stuff has been a little wacky, and this just kind of goes on with this wackiness. I think this one more had to deal with the Dominions.
Yeah.
And I think in the last issue, the Sinister was going to bring all the Dominions together to fight the Phoenix. And I guess the big swerve in the story is all those other Dominions just decided not to merge together to fight. I guess because of his desire to fight, it doesn't mean he has total dominion or something. I don't know. That's what I got out of it. And then I guess explains that there's some explanation of the Phoenix Force and how it sort of works, and it's powered by every mutant since, I guess, from beginning to the end of time. And I pulled that out there, and I don't know. And then I guess they're going into the stuff with Xavier and kind of what he's been up to.
Yeah.
So I think I tried to explain, I guess, what his actions were all about.
So yeah, that kind of was the most interesting part of the issue for me, was all the Xavier stuff, because they've kind of backed him into a corner, as they do, where they're just like, okay, this whole time they've been saying like, this guy's a bad guy now. He's kind of gone against his vision and he's turning against the mutants. Then there was some cockamamie fucking like explanation in this issue of how like he purposely was doing this. Like,
yeah, you have to get to more, I guess. And that was the only way he could do it, is to
right. Which, like, the way they kind of explained it, I was like, okay, but it's still kind of ridiculous. Like, I was
but
like,
at the end, it looks like he's ready to pay for his crimes, I guess.
Yeah.
It's hard to say what's happening, and I think from reading some of the solicitations for the newer X-Men, like, there's whatever Prisoner X or something that's, locked up in some jail cell somewhere, and that could be Xavier.
Probably. Yeah. I found the Xavier stuff actually pretty interesting, to be honest. That was probably like, this whole Phoenix storyline that's been going on, where we were confused about some of the stuff that in regards to that, like, was fine. Like, I think it kind of came together. It came together in this issue, not bad. I thought it was all right. And there's some great images of just the Phoenix. If you're a Phoenix fan, there's some great fucking art images, like just like splash pages of her kind of just in action in this issue. There's several, actually.
Yeah, it's just the ones where you see all the mutants with, the Phoenix kind of symbol on their chest. That's nice, stuff.
Yeah. But the Xavier stuff, I think, was the most interesting part about all this for me, just because, like, when the dust settles, I was interested to see how that was going to go. And yeah, I mean, I guess he's sticking to his guns and saying like, yeah, I did go about this a certain way because he was hoping that things played out the way they did. And then in the end, like it seemed like Moira found some peace finally in her time, like because we've had this cyborg Moira now at this point in time, right? In the story.
Yeah.
But then like it seems like it went back to a time where she's finally in a timeline where she may not actually have been a mutant. I think things have gone back to the status quo, like where she's not. I don't know if she is a mutant or
Yeah,
not.
it seems like she didn't get powers, like,
Yeah,
or her powers didn't manifest when they should have. So
that's what you got from it too, right?
yeah,
Yeah, that's what I got from it. Like she finally existed in a timeline. It seemed like when she went back, where she didn't have to have all this fucking burden on her shoulders with in regards to Xavier coming to her like he did at the start of all this
yeah,
Krypton era stuff, saying like, "Oh, we need like you need to help us, like you're the reason why all the and like trying to get shit right with the timelines and all that." Like
yeah,
it finally kind of set itself right finally at the end, and like she. You know, when he explained all this shit to her, she's like, I fucking hate you, but like, I gotta do, like, I get where you're coming from with all this. Like, and she's like, you know, even though they can't find love with one another anymore, she's like, I used to love you and now like I fucking despise you, but like I have to do this. Like she basically he sold it to her in a way where she's like, you're not gonna like me for this, but you like this is the way to like set things right finally. And I kind of liked all that honestly about it. I thought it was good. Like after all the confusion, I think we felt over towards the end, a little bit of
yeah,
the stuff that's been happening. I was like, this felt a little bit more like, okay, like I started this run with these ideas and like Hickman did, and this is him kind of bringing it home a little bit where he's like, yeah, we're closing the chapter on this Moira shit and like the Xavier stuff. And I was like,
yeah.
okay,
They're kind of putting it all to bed, and I'm happy about that.
same. Yeah. Yeah. And the art was good. It wasn't bad. Yeah. So yeah. What'd you give this out of 5?
I'll give it a 4. It's still, it's a big issue with a lot of things going on.
Same. Yeah. I think I gave the other one last week too, like a 4 out of 5. I think both of these I think ended well. Kind of lost its way a little bit in the middle of these miniseries. I feel like a little bit, but overall, I think like 3.75 out of 5 for both the rise and fall of these
Yeah,
X thing. I think like just under 4 out of 5, which I think they're both pretty good to be honest with you. Like but you have to have read most, I feel like, the other X-Men stuff that really get what was going on in these minis. So even me and Chris, we've read a bunch of the books, and
yeah,
in this one in particular, we were both a little lost on some of the things that were happening. But he kind of landed the plane here at the end, I thought, pretty well here. So I'll give it to him. Avengers Twilight #6, also the conclusion of another miniseries, big miniseries out of Marvel. Got the Daniel Acuna. Yeah, you got the Hulk one. Yeah.
I have to stick with the who do these covers? I forgot. Oh yeah, these Alex Ross covers or no?
Yeah, that's a Ross
Yeah,
cover for sure. Yeah, that's a nice one. Can't go wrong there. What'd you think of this?
it was okay. Like I was expecting more out of this. That maybe they could have fleshed this series out a little bit more. But it's still like the art side is great. The action's all there. But this stuff where I don't know how what's her name Jan came back.
That wasn't explained very well. No, I agree
Like
with
he
you.
was in that ring or something, like because he just reaches out or something, then boom, she's back to life.
Yeah.
But I feel let that slide, and then I guess the redemption of James Stark or whatever his name is. I could have lived without that. He could have just killed him and went on with this world or let this world be what it is as it goes. But other than that, it's good seeing everybody fighting and the Thor and Hulk battles where, it's always good to see a throwdown. And that seemed to be like a serious throwdown between them.
I also really liked yeah, it was a great throwdown for sure. And I like how even though Iron Man and like Tony Stark Iron Man here and who else? Hulk died. They were together in the afterlife because Thor made sure, like in Asgard, where the champions hall, like where the heroes sit.
I could have done without that. I know it's nice.
I like
put it in there, but
what do you mean? That was sick because it was Bruce Banner. It wasn't the Hulk sitting there. And like for a second there, you didn't like that? No? Okay. I like
I'd rather just let him be dead.
The reason I liked it, I think it would be more ridiculous if it was the Hulk sitting there, but it was Bruce Banner. So I was like, okay, like, and like,
I'm surprised they didn't like just have like Banner's eyes turn green in the last panel, and he'd be freaking Hulk Twilight in Valhalla, and he freaking goes nuts.
right? No, I liked that.
But there were some funny lines there with like Bruce Banner not drinking,
Yes.
and he's in Valhalla and been getting smashed all the time.
Yeah. He's like, I'm having such a hard time. Everyone keeps trying to have a celebratory drink with me here, like, or something along the lines of that. He said, yeah, I like that. Yeah, because obviously in the fucking Asgard, people like they have their celebrations, they get pissed drunk and everything, right? No, I liked that for sure. Yeah, I liked that bit of it. But you know what? I will agree with you. It's weird to say that I was underwhelmed by this because I feel like he stuck the landing. It was a good ending. The series overall, I think, was good. I give it a 4 out of 5. Honestly, the whole miniseries I thought was excellent. The art was good throughout. It was a good story. But I also feel like you're right. I was maybe expecting some higher stakes. Everything kind of just came together here in a very nice way. So maybe it'll read all together better as one chunk, as a complete story, right? But that's what I mean. It's weird to say that, but I agree with you. And I don't know why, like, I don't want to like discourage people from checking it out with saying like, yeah, the ending just seemed good and right, and it didn't pull any swerves or anything at the end. But he played it safe for sure. But it doesn't.
Yeah, like it didn't seem epic at the end, because this was sort of an epic series.
Right. That's what I mean. Like that's what I'm trying to. I'm trying to explain to people is that it was not bad by any means. It's just like, yeah, you're right. I think like it was so good from the go that we were kind of expecting maybe like, some crazy shit to happen here at the end where, it was just like your usual, the good overcomes evil type of story here.
Yeah. Well, I got you on camera, your lies are all done. It's it's sort of.
Yeah, good stuff though. Still, I think it was, it was good, but it as a whole, I think this is something people should check out though. I think it's like I'm grabbing the collection of this like when it comes out. I think this is going to be like one of those good like self-contained Avengers stories that you can give to people that you don't really need to know anything about in terms of continuity because it's some future setting that like, you know what I mean? Whether or not we're going to get to that point, is unclear at this point. Like, let's say we're not going to. You're not going to see fucking old Captain America. It's not any point unless it's like a story like this. Also, there was a story where he did turn old years ago. That's a whole other thing. But anyways, what'd you give this?
I'll give it a 4. I was going to give it a 4.25, but I think it talked me down.
Yeah.
But the series as a whole, I'd give it a 4.25.
Yeah, I was saying 4, but you're right. Like maybe even 4.25. Yeah, I also give this a 4. No, that's what I mean. It's a good series. It's just like, yeah, I was expecting some crazy thing at the end where it's just like, oh, maybe there's going to be more.
Yeah, it seems like you're doing a lot of work on those first few issues.
Yeah.
To lead to nothing.
It just, well, no, I wouldn't say nothing.
Well, not to nothing, but
yeah, it came together. It came together quite nicely, I think. Yeah, so. You know what, though? It was nice because at the end, though, you did see the hint of this is the new Avengers now. Like you had the Hawkeye chick who wants to be known as like Bullseye. You had Ms. Marvel now coming back into the fold. You had what's his name? The new Tony Stark, his son, his piece of shit son that fucking became Red Skull's bitch for a while there, but now he's trying to set things right. So it was good. Yeah,
I know they could have done so much more in the. They could have had all this like a ton of here. They could have like freaking Peter Parker's kid come out there. Like nobody ever said that he didn't have children, or
maybe he's leaving the door open for more stories down the road. You never know, right? We don't know for a fact. Although he did, I heard Zdarsky say this might be his last Marvel work. I don't know if that's the case. Yeah, I hope that's the case. But anyway, like for now, and I hope he comes back, is what I'm saying. Yeah. Next up, we got Chris. You got X-Men: The Wedding Special #1.
Where did I put that one? It's one of the Pride or the Voices.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I got roped into buying this one. Well, I'm not roped into it, but I fell into the hype there after reading that X-Men Blue Origins and
you like
the big story.
Yeah.
And this is more just sets out like an anthology series. You know, the first story here, I think it's a Rogue and Mystique, or Mystique and
Nightcrawler.
yeah, Nightcrawler, just kind of preparing for the wedding. Oh, that story was okay. And then it goes on to like 3 or 4 other stories of, I know, other people getting ready for the wedding.
Yeah, there was invitations and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah, a
yeah,
couple of those were, one was okay, one was brutal. I think there's one with Logan trying to figure out what he wants to get as gifts, and he's there with his students, and then like it was just bad.
this one's with Betsy Braddock. Looks like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't realize these voices comics were on the spicier side sometimes, but
There's a lot of sexy fucking type of stuff happening in here. Yeah. I mean, obviously, with a lot of a lot of bi, gay kind of themes, obviously, with the pride stuff and the voices is also, I think, is aimed at that, right?
yeah,
But yeah, there's a lot of yeah, you're right. There was actually a lot of really good art in this issue. I thought, from just looking at it and read it, but I thought they actually brought some good art onto this. It wasn't just like some throwaway like
yeah.
artist on this, right? So.
And then I think the final story was the actual wedding, and that story wasn't too bad. I think they pulled a little bit of a swerve. They kind of have the whole wedding there. Everybody's nervous, and you have all the guests. You see everybody. Then they're exchanging their vows, and then while they do that, I guess Mystique says, "Oh, I can't marry you because I don't love you," or something. And then it cuts to a scene where you see Mystique breaking into Scarlet Witch's emporium to steal something, and then the X-Men assemble. The Avengers assemble, the X-Men get ready to take off, and I guess it's all sort of some plan for, I guess, what's her name, for Raven and Mystique to be rebels and take off on their honeymoon. That was nothing fancy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that story there with Emma Frost, that one was probably one of the more decent stories. They go to Emma Frost for, I guess, some sort of counseling.
Yeah.
And it turns out to be Loki pretending to be Emma Frost. And then Emma Frost, kind of figures it out, or ends up showing up, and he starts giving Loki trouble. Why he's doing that. And he's like, "Hey, if I was doing this, how come you let me go through with it?" And he goes, "Oh, you spoke some truths," and
right.
They both kind of take apart each other's lives. But otherwise, I don't know if this was worth for the $7.99. If you could just read this online and enjoy the stories in there. And it's kind of weird how this fits in this whole Krakoa era business.
Right.
So the timing of this one seems odd. But overall, better than I thought it'd be.
Okay.
And I got a 3.75. There were a couple stories in there.
All right, cool. Next up we got Power Girl number 9, which is I guess, is this continuing to be a tie-in to the
it's another tie-in to the whatever the House of Brainiac story. I just read this one online. I don't know, if I looked at that cover, it's not a bad cover.
It's not. Buy me, fanboy.
I know, it's just speaking to me.
Yeah, it's like, check out my buttocks. It's got some tight pants on there. What's going on?
I got the leather jackets, and that's the way she rolls now.
You got a nice, you got a nice ass shot instead of the usual Power Girl boob shot.
I gotta keep things, fresh, I guess.
Yeah, I gotta switch it up.
But yeah, this is the following that House of Brainiac story, and Power Girl's left in Metropolis after all the super family's been all I guess kidnapped, and there's a few Zarnians left over. And I think in the last issue, Power Girl runs into Crush and her gang, and of course they have their little fight there until they realize, hey, you're Crush, oh, you're Power Girl, oh, you're not part of this. And they're talking about what's going on. And I guess they try and go into a bar together to figure out what's happening. And then the actual Zarnians are out there causing mayhem, and they have these guns that I don't know, animate whatever they shoot. And they cause trouble. And I guess Crush is part of some sort of holiday girls group, and they get captured by those Zarnians, and Power Girl and Crush are out for revenge now. And then there's another story that's kind of brewing in there about this guy here, and I guess he's some sort of robot, and he got clipped by one of those guns, and now he's turned into a lion.
Yeah,
And
I
you
was
know,
wondering what the hell that's all about. It
I
looked
don't know what
interesting.
that's about, but his big line in the story is, oh, I can't let no harm come to Power Girl because I
Oh,
want to save that for me. Ooh.
okay.
So we'll see where that goes.
What'd you give this?
3.5.
Yeah.
But
Necess-
it's enjoyable. It's
I,
what it is.
I was gonna say though, necessary reading for the
No,
Ghost
not
Brainiac.
very at all.
Okay.
I think that this Power Girl and Crush is just a side note. It's not.
Right.
I don't think it's gonna have anything to do with what's going on.
Okay. Next up, we got Helverine #1. Yes, I made fun of it. Yes, I read it. Just I felt it was too important of a release to not talk about on the show, so I figured out what the hell. I saw it there, read it digitally, and I didn't pick this up, but I checked it out. And from, from what I've seen from some people were running to the comic shop this week to pick this up. I guess they're banking on the popularity of this character.
I think I might have his first appearance in that Ghost Rider Wolverine crossover.
That's right. You may want to hold on to that one. Yeah, it might
Put
be.
that in the big plastic one.
Yeah. But yeah, listen, it is a good, on paper, it's cool as hell. It is fucking Wolverine with Ghost Rider powers. So sure. Yeah. Why not? He's got the hell power, whatever, hellfire power. This was okay. I mean, this is basically, they talk about, I guess, this whole like almost like a Weapon X kind of scenario where they're fueling this hellfire type shit that's like the Ghost Rider's power in like a lab, and then they're trying to like get people give people these powers, and then like something like at one point Logan gets fucking like issued in there, like it's almost like his like what like a Weapon X type of storyline, and he gets this hellfire kind of power from Ghost Rider that they've got in the lab, and then he kind of just runs amok. Essentially, they try to give it to like a bunch of other people, I think, here, and they also become like powerful as a result of this. The people that are in the lab, I guess Wolverine is separate from whatever's going on with that. You got Ghost Rider zooming around in this issue as well. I'm not too clear on like what was established prior to this miniseries by Benjamin Percy in the pages of Ghost Rider, because I know he's been writing that, as well as what you had. Because did he show up first in the Hulk, or what did he first show up in? I can't. You said you had the first appearance. What did he show up in there?
I think it was a Ghost Rider Wolverine crossover.
Oh, that's right.
We were hunting that.
That's right. We read that. Yeah, I read that. Yeah. So I felt like I was a little lost, and maybe there were some plots leading into this series that I was not aware of, or some story that I'm not aware of here. But anyways, by the end of it, Logan there, he sees he basically sees Dakin, like his son. Like his son is dead right now currently, but yet he sees a stitched up like Frankenstein version of his son walking around on fire. So I don't know if it's like these people have actually reanimated him with this power as well, these people in like the lab. I'm not too sure, but I believe that's what has happened here. At least that's what they're teasing, and he's fighting off against some other people. I don't know. I give it a 3 out of 5. It was fine. It wasn't anything spectacular. The art was fine. It's just very middle of the line. I felt like this issue. It definitely didn't get me interested to read more, but maybe I'm just not the audience for this. I'm not buying into the hype, so I wasn't that excited to check this one out. So I might be the wrong person to ask about that.
How can they ruin Wolverine and Ghost Rider together?
I don't know. Again, and this is a Benjamin Percy book. It's so weird. Someone asked me, just as an aside to what we're talking about here, someone asked me the other day, a friend of mine who reads comics at the shop there, he's like, is Benjamin Percy a good writer? I'm just like, it's so fucking hard to say. I'm like, you know what? I said, even my buddy, we really like the tail end of a lot of the series he was working on, X-Force and like Wolverine. But then we read a bunch of stuff by him we also really haven't liked, and we're pretty sure he's using movie plots as
I'd have to say no. I say flat out no. He's no good.
I wouldn't say he's no good. He's written some good things. I mean, there's been some enjoyable things he said. You would say flat out no? I don't know. I think he's okay. I will say he's an okay writer. I don't think he's a great writer. I don't think he's a good writer. I think he's an okay writer. It's kind of the end of the line for me. Like he hasn't really gotten to the point where I'll never check out a book that he writes, but he's also
He's
not
not the
like,
worst writer, I'd say that.
no. That's what I mean. Like he hasn't done enough for me to be like, I'll never read a book that guy does. Because there's certain writers I won't even check out nowadays. Like, because I've read too many things by them. I've gotten burned by them too many times where I'm just like, I'm not interested in this guy as a writer.
I want to know what he wrote that was so good that they got him to start writing. You know what I mean?
He started over at DC. There's that. I don't know. I haven't read. He did some Green Arrow. He did some things over at DC. I don't know if any of those are things are worthwhile checking out. But anyways, yeah, that's all I gotta say about Wolverine #1. Next up, we got Gromit's #1, which I sadly don't have the art for. I wish I did, so maybe I'll try to show off some pages here. This is the first issue of a new Rick Remender and co-written by Brian Posehn, who's like a comedian. You've probably maybe if you've seen a picture of him, you know who I'm talking about. Maybe some of you guys out there won't know him by name, but he's been in a bunch of comedies on TV. He was like a character on like Big Bang Theory at one point. He was like he's been on a bunch of different comedies on TV, and he's done a bunch of like movies. I'm trying to think of something that he did that I can point out to say like, oh yeah, he's this guy in this movie. But I don't know if a lot of people know him by his name, but he is a funny guy, and he's co-written. He's worked in comics since like a long time ago. He's co-written stuff with Rick Remender before. He also co-written the Deadpool series that Jerry Duggan wrote years ago at Marvel. Like he did like the first, like, I don't know, like 40, 50 issues with Jerry Duggan as a co-writer. So he's worked in comics enough for me not to be like, oh yeah, this is just some guy who's coming in that's a star. And it's not like his Holy Roller comic that he brought in fucking Andy Samberg, which we've never seen write a comic before, right? Like this guy's done enough at this point where I'm just like, okay, yeah, that's fine. But yeah, this is basically about skate culture in the 1980s in California specifically, and it's about in this issue you get introduced to a kid who's moved to Sacramento, California in 1984, and he's moved from San Francisco to there, and he's a skater, and he kind of deals with, you kind of see his first day at a new school in this issue, trying to make friends, trying to get in with some cool kids that that skate. And like, there's a bunch of kids that he sees outside the school with a skateboard, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I heard you guys are going to a skate park or whatever. You mind if I join you?" And then his parents pull up to like pick him up from school. He's like, "Oh no, Mom, I'll be home later. I'm gonna go hang out with my new friends." And he turns around, and the kids basically drove off without him. Like they left him there. They're like, look at this loser kid with his mom and shit like that. They're like making fun of him, and he's like, oh man, he's like, and then like some kids like, you don't want to hang out with those posers anyways. And there's like another kid that like a skater that has a skateboard there, and he's like, come with me, whatever, we'll go to the skate park, I'll show you around or whatever. And he's like, oh cool. And like, so they end up going there. And basically by the end of the issue, they get to the skate park, and this kid's hyping himself up. He's like, yeah, this company wants to sponsor me and blah 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 blah. And he's trying to make it seem like he's a sick skateboarder. And they get to the skate park, and he's trying to go into a bowl, and he's just standing there, and all those kids from earlier in the issue that go to school with them or that know him start making fun of him. They're like, this kid sucks. Like, whatever. He's, this kid doesn't know what he's doing. Like, go ahead, go in the bowl. Like, go just do some tricks for us. And he's like, so he feels nervous because now he's trying to impress this kid that he just met, and he wants him to be his friend. So he goes for it. He goes in the bowl, and he's all like, wobbly and trying to fucking skate in the bowl. And all of a sudden, like a fucking rock is in the middle of like the bowl, and he hits the rock, goes flying off the fucking skateboard, and just fucking face plants like in the bowl. And all of a sudden he gets up, everyone's like, whoa, like freaking out to see if he's okay. He gets up, and he's got his fucking braces, which is like back in the day, they're like a whole, like, a crazy fucking contraption. The whole fucking wires hanging out the side of his fucking face because he bashed into the shit. And it's funny when they detail like the rock that he hits. they show like some like crazy like scenario where like the rock came from space and then, like, you know what I mean? Like that bird swooped up and picked it up in its mouth. And it,
Like
like,
a rock of fate.
yeah, exactly. So there's this whole like scenario like that where they show that going down. And then the kid wipes out and it ends with him looking like this in the issue. I don't know. I just I mean I skateboarded when I was younger, so like, and you know I wasn't the kid of the '80s, but like there's nothing else like this right now, like out on the stands or like a comic that I've ever read like this. So I actually really fucking enjoyed this, just because it kind of shows you a time period and a culture that I've never seen really represented in comics. So I actually really, really, really fucking enjoyed this. I thought the art was good. It's cartoony, but not too cartoony. I thought it was just good enough for like the story that they're trying to convey here. You see like skateboards. They talk about like skateboard kind of like lingo. They talk about other skateboarders that are popular at this time period. There's a lot of like 80s kind of school type stuff going on. If you've ever seen like, you know, like movies of that time period or whatever, or if you went to school in the 80s, like, right. I did not. So yeah, I can't relate to that in that sense, but yeah, it actually felt very authentic. And then when you get to the news, sorry, the letters column at the end, Brian Posehn said that this scene in here happened to him when he skated. Yeah, with the fucking braces coming out of the side of his. He's like, him and Remender both were kind of like, yeah, we felt like outcasts and getting to that age, and skateboarding brought us into like a whole like group of friends and this and that. So I guess they both kind of had similar kind of storylines like that in their lives, and then this is them. They said trying to convey that in this series, essentially, like tell funny true stories that may have occurred to them during like this kind of like, you know, times that they hung out and not together, but or like skated and stuff like that. So this is one of 7, but the way they kind of talked about it in the letter column is that they might do more miniseries like this if this takes off. So yeah, I really, really fucking enjoyed this. Brett Parson was the artist on this one. You know, I was going to give it a 4.25, but I might even go to a 4.5. I thought this was a great first issue. And even if it's not something you might be interested in, I think it was well written and the art was good enough that if you're willing to give it a chance, I think it's something worth checking out, because there's no other comics that are going to depict this that are out there right now on the stands. I can guarantee you that. So I think it's really good for them to do that in that regard. So yeah, 4.5 out of 5 this week. Good debut issue. Next up, we got Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver number 4. This is the conclusion of this mini series. This was okay. I thought the Scarlet Witch series that Steve Orlando, who is one of those writers I normally don't check stuff out from, I don't really like him that much as a writer, but I thought this has been one of the better things he's been writing lately, is the Scarlet Witch series. And then he kind of went into this mini series that like focused on her and Quicksilver's relationship. This was this is actually one of the better issues of this whole mini series. I thought that he kind of stuck the landing in terms of the wrap up in this issue. Because we got some Vision action in this series as well. She's not with Vision anymore, but he kind of comes back to help her out because, as he puts it, they're still family because they were together at one point. You have a lot of great sister brother moments between him and her and Quicksilver in this. And they basically took out the wizard, who was the bad guy of this miniseries that was trying to fuck with them. And by the end of it, you actually have some good moments with Magneto showing up here, who of course has just come back from the dead and is not their biological father in the continuity anymore, but he was still like a father figure for them and a father of sorts. So they refer to him as such in this. They've changed that in the continuity now, I guess, because of the movies, but but now, like, yeah, he's still around as that kind of guy. And Scarlet Witch, she kind of talks with him at the end of this issue. Quicksilver still has some issues with him and takes off. He's kind of like, yeah, no, sorry, they're still not on good terms, let's say, him and Quicksilver. But he basically put in his letter to Scarlet Witch that he felt like her and Quicksilver are not good together as a pairing. He says, like, he thinks, like, I think that which Quicksilver took offense to. I think he thinks that he's holding her back, essentially. But he's like, you can always call on me for anything. And it was like a nice, like, heartwarming kind of like brother sister type moment, even though they don't always see eye to eye. and some good Magneto stuff here at the end too. So I'll give this a 3.75 out of 5. I think overall though the miniseries is like a 3.5, 3.25 around there. It was an okay miniseries. The art was really good throughout, but the series itself was, I think, not as good as the ongoing that came prior to it. But now they're just relaunching it in a new #1 Scarlet Witch series, so I'm sure, like, there's still some good stuff to come, I'm sure, coming out of this miniseries, as they tend to do, right? So
Which must have the most #1s out of all the freaking
I know.
characters in Marvel.
Anyways, I know you have to, because that's the only way they'll sell books, they think, right? So I'm sure they have the numbers for it to support that. So I mean, look at us on the show. We'd rather talk about a new #1 book than an ongoing book, because sometimes we don't stick with it, right? So sometimes there's always hope in a new #1 title, right? There is. So all right, Chris, Drawing Blood #2. You read this week as well, right?
Yeah, I read this one online. I don't think I read the first one. So, like, these cats that they're talking about, those are basically the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's what I figured. But
that's his creation in this story, like, essentially. Yeah. That again, if you're gonna look at it as him trying to tell a story that's like somewhat, biographical, like about his life, then yeah, this is his creation in this. That is the Turtles, the cats thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and if this is anything that's been going on in his life, this guy's lived a freaking crazy life.
Yeah.
Because where it picks up here, it looks like he's, I don't know if he's actually he spent all his money on a musical for I don't know what, and then I don't know how he's got involved with all these gangs that seem to be after him.
Yeah.
And it's like, if whatever rings true, or if this is really sort of some autobiographical comic, it's pretty interesting, and it's it's still got a touch of, I guess, humor or like real life sort of stuff. And I really did enjoy it. I liked it more than I did, more than I thought I would.
Yeah, I've been enjoying this a lot. Yeah, I think it's actually pretty good. And to your point, I think he's obviously taking some liberties about making this a bit more juicier than his actual life. But in that same regard, I think there's so many things that they are touching on in this story that are true, because for a fact, I know Kevin Eastman, he did blow all his money. Like he says that, like, in this, he bought some, like, a crazy car or something. He makes reference to him buying.
Yeah, he bought the Batmobile or something.
Batmobile. And he literally, in real life, like, this is a thing that happened. This motherfucker bought a tank at one point. I don't know why.
Like, maybe he's just using the Batmobile for effect, but he did buy a tank instead.
He may have also did the Batmobile, but I don't know. But I do know, like, for a fact that he did. I've heard the story that he bought a tank at one point. So yeah, I think he's just taking certain liberties to change certain aspects of the storyline, and you even get a moment here where you see the two creators, the one that's now died off, and the reason that he needs the money to owe to the mob, which I think that part is obviously made up, but it shows the relationship sometimes between creators, and as it has been told before as well, him and Eastman and Laird had a falling out at one point after creating the Turtles, right? So, like, you see there's moments in here that do kind of ring true, where you see him talking to his co-creator in a certain situation about, and even they say, he's like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna do my style like this, and I'm gonna make yours, you can do your Kirby style, like Jack Kirby style, and I'm gonna, and that is Laird, like, he has more of that Jack Kirby kind of style, and Eastman has like they have different styles, right? And like they kind of brought it together to make the Turtles. So again, it's just some interesting stuff going on here, and behind it all, even going past that, it's a good story, I think. Even if what's true and what's not, right? And he fucking goes into like a drunken stupor here towards the end of the issue, and then he ends up waking up, and it's his fucking buddy, his co-creator's funeral that he's at. So I mean, yeah, I'm in. I'm very interested to see where this story goes, and the fact that it is with a creator who was such a big fucking deal at one point that did fall on hard times. That's kind of telling it. It's interesting. I kind of think there's some interesting stuff there to kind of be like.
Yeah, there's just a few lines that jumped out at me there, but I guess he was talking about, doing whatever he wanted with the Turtles, or with whatever, the cats.
Yeah,
because he's like figuring who's gonna who's going to read this anyways? I'm just having fun with it. And then, and then after that blew up, what can I do now? I can't do anything else after this. Now there's so much pressure onto, writing something new about it. So I find that all very fun to read.
Yeah. And I mean, that's, and that part, a lot of that shit is true too. Like he did become a big cokehead from what I understand.
Because like the Turtles was a big knockoff. There was a lot of Daredevil in there, like you say, like Frank Miller Daredevil stuff,
and that's all true too.
The foot and the hand. The Foot Clan is taking off the.
That's right.
The play on the gimmick or of the hand. So it's all good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, I think it's like a 12-issue series or something. I think they advertised it as. It's but what'd you give this out of 5?
I'll give it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah,
I'll probably keep on reading if I see it out there.
Yeah, 4 out of 5 for sure. Me too. Next up, we got Harley Quinn number 40. I got a great cover for this one here this week.
Oof.
Up. I think it's Lyrics is the variant cover artist.
It looks like Lyrics are part of that Art Drum crew or whatever.
Mm-hmm. What'd you think of this?
That garbage. Come on, the art in there is just freaking brutal. The story is okay. The story is a little bit better than I thought it'd be. It's better than all that freaking multiversal stuff. But the story, this could be a lot better comic with if it had more of just a better art style. Like this is just rough.
I'm not so bugged by the art style as much as you, but at the same time, the problem I have with this book consistently is that like we're getting to a point now where this story is not even necessarily bad, but I could not give a fucking shit about any of this. Like I just can't drum up enough interest for this book. I don't know. I'm not interested in what's happening in this story. As much as I keep trying. I mean, we're 40 issues into this run, and I feel like the last time we were really interested in a storyline from this book was 20 issues ago at this point. Like, I don't know. I don't know if it's the writer. I don't know. And like
I think for a character this popular, I had mentioned it before, they'd be kind of pressing this a little bit harder to be good. Not to be or maybe this is just their ideas. This is set for I don't know, freaking teenagers or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not great. Basically, at the end of this issue, Mr. Freeze creates his own like ice sculpture, fucking like place in the middle of the city there. Forgot what the ice scape or whatever.
Big things happen. Harley gets arrested. These could be key points in the story, but it's just I don't know. It just all gets lost.
Yeah, because this is a different artist now. This Natasha Bustos, but I think this.
Yeah, but it's still in the same style.
Yes, yeah, absolutely a Sweeney Boo. It is, yeah. So I don't know. And to be honest, like I really haven't liked too much that Teenie Howard has done. I know that you don't mind her. It seems like on the Catwoman series, that's the same writer who does that series. But for me, I haven't really loved anything she's done that I've read. But I don't know. I don't know what the problem is here. Right? Like you said, like and it's not even that the story is that's not that bad. It's just it's not doing anything for me. So
yeah. And the backups have usually been carrying this one, and I didn't care much for this backup one either.
Yeah, no, this backup was not good. No. What'd you give this?
That's 3.25.
I go. I mean, I got to give it a 3. I mean, I don't know. Like the backup was not good this time around, so I can't even give it points for that. And I just flat out said I'm not interested in this book, so I got to give it a 3. So I was gonna go 3.25. I'm like, no, I can't do that. So next up, Wolverine number 50, the ending of this Benjamin Percy series. Chris.
All right, I got a nice cover for this though.
Let's take a look. Oh yeah, yeah. You got all of them now, I think. The Hulk, the Spider-Man one. Do you get the
Well, I got the trifecta. I think his first one was a Nightcrawler one. I don't know where it might have been done a lot earlier.
Oh, a Banff one.
I think it was supposed to be with Banff, yeah. From what I read, I don't think I've seen the cover.
That would have been nice. Yeah.
But yeah, basically, I did like the Spider-Man one.
Sure.
And the Hulk one I was going to kind of let slide, but then, after this Wolverine one came out, I went to get the Hulk one.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to have those 3 covers side by side.
I think I got the I only got the Spider-Man one, but they are nice. Absolutely. What'd you think of this?
It was good. Like I just slammed Benjamin Percy, but wait, how can you mess up this story? Like, come on. You got what? That was a shocking moment there. I thought it'd be a big throwdown between Wolverine and with Sabretooth's son. I thought that was gonna be like the swerve, and that would be the big battle at the end. But then, you see that water bubbling behind. I forget what that kid's name is. But you see the water bubbling behind him, and then freaking Sabretooth put his claws right through his son's chest.
Yeah.
Like, wow, they want to hit the freaking, like, the violence level, just like the metaphysical level of all this. This guy just kills his own son for no reason. Like, if they're trying to redeem Sabretooth, like, that's out the door right now. Like, there's no coming back from that.
No.
And then, whatever, Sabretooth leads him to the quiet council, I guess, chambers. And, I thought that was a nice little swerve there where he goes, oh, well, since I've been down in the pit,
Yeah.
I took a bit of the pit with me, and he pulls Wolverine down there. And, what happens to Wolverine down there? I guess that wasn't too, you could have used some decent writing there to make that a little bit more interesting. But, I live in pain and blah, blah, blah. Okay, we heard all that stuff. But, once Wolverine did get back and, throws down with Sabretooth, I like the scene where all the X-Men are there, or not the X-Men, whoever is there, the Exiles and Colossus and all those guys. They're there, ready to freaking just, Sabretooth, we got you, you're done. And Wolverine's like, no, this is between me and him. And I'll take care of business. And, so it was nice seeing some of the violence between their fight and a little bit of back and forth. And then there you go. Like, yeah, that's a nice splash page.
There was some good money shots here at the end. Yeah. I gotta say, yeah, I thought they really. There's a couple. There's another one coming up here. This one, a couple of really good fucking Wolverine shots. And you know what? I got to give it up to him. As much as like I thought this ending was just okay, even though this had a fantastic fucking start. I mean, we talked about it here on the show. Chris absolutely loved it. I really liked it as well. And we gave some of a couple first issues our favorite of the weeks. But as it kind of went on, it got a little long in the tooth. 10 issues, I think, was a little ambitious.
Yeah, it was way too much for this. That's for sure.
But I gotta say, I did like how he didn't try to redeem this fucking character at the end of
it. For sure.
Like there was a bit in the middle where like he tried to show you his side of things and why he is this way, and there was even moments where it seemed like Percy was trying to make us like, feel bad for him and shit like that. But like then by the end of this, they're like, no, this guy did horrible fucking things to people. He has to go down. So I do respect that. Like, but at the end of this, Wolverine's just like, no, it's fucking go time. And I'm gonna take you out now, right? Like that. He just fucking, killed.
Yeah, especially after seeing, all the stuff in Orcus where all these bad guys nobody really paid the price.
Yeah.
And I thought, I didn't really think Sabretooth was going to pay the price here. Yeah. And he might just show up as an X-Men character in the reboot. You know what I mean? Like, they kind of like, he's a popular character, good or bad.
Yeah.
And you think they always want to kind of keep him on the table. And I imagine he'll be back somehow, but at least here, he looks definitively off the table.
Yeah. I mean, he's like in a million pieces there at the end. And not only that, because he takes the Miramoso blade and fucking slices the shit out of him in a million pieces. And I actually even like this moment when he's with his crew, these X-Force people there, and he's getting on the plane at the end. And he even says to himself, he's like, you know what? Like, I've been through a lot of bad shit in my life. I've had horrible moments. But I will actually look back on this era, the Krakoa era, as some of the best times of my life. I actually liked that. I was like,
that's a little bit hold on the hokey strings there a little bit too much.
Yeah, I get that, but like,
I'm sure he had a good time there. It was a good time in his life, but doesn't have to be so freaking.
No, I dug it.
Somber or whatever. I don't even know the words for that.
It was a little on the nose. I know what you're saying, but like for me. Maybe that is when I think back on this time. Yeah, I get it. It's a little like
if anything, he should have said, "Yeah, it was okay." And like Wolverine saying something is okay is like that means it's the best thing in the world. He doesn't have to say it was the best time of his life.
but
He goes, yeah, that was okay, and
but
that would have been enough.
yeah, okay, good point. But it does also come back to the fact that, like, again, what separates these two people, him and fucking Sabretooth, which Percy had talked about earlier in the run, earlier in this storyline, about how he has like a core group of people that he has
Yeah,
behind him that love and respect him and everything else. And Sabretooth is just a mongrel. He doesn't have that shit. He's a dog, right? Like, you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, that's so, I mean, like, and not even a beloved one. He's a fucking, he's a fucking psychopath. So that's the problem, I think, is that, like you said, I think you can tell even at the end of this story that Wolverine will always have people that like will back him up, and Sabretooth will just continue to be a fucking evil.
That's why I don't like Benjamin Percy, because he beats you over the head with that story.
Yeah. You're right. What'd you give this then out of 5 then?
I'm giving it a 4.25 though. I did enjoy reading it. And this is a good end to
Yeah.
a run. Like I did enjoy. Well, maybe not so much in the middle of the run, but once they start picking it up,
I
the
think
last 10, 15 issues of this have been pretty good.
No, I would say like the last like 20 issues at least of this series. Yeah, like I agree with you. Like the last okay, hold on.
But
So
the Beast arc was good.
no, hold on. So this was 40 to 50. This is the last 10 issues of this story, right? So I would say like probably like 25 onward, like half of this series, it was pretty fucking good, like from what I can tell, like, because
I know from where I picked up this series and that Point Break issue, I thought, what the heck is this Wolverine?
That was like issue 20. Like that was like almost the halfway mark. I think it took a turn for the better after that. Like, because what was the team up tour in X-Force or this? See,
this one here.
It's blending together a little bit, but I think you're right. Like the last like 3 arcs, which may be like 20, 25 issues worth, were pretty fucking good, I'll say. Yeah, I did enjoy them. Same with the X-Force stuff too. That's what I mean. Like, but I do remember reading both of those titles when they started. I probably read like 10, 15 issues of each, and I jumped ship. I was just like, I don't know what the fuck's going on in these series, and then they're not that great. That's when that fucking Point Break shit happened. And then since then, I think it wasn't bad the second half. So if you guys are willing to read a series where the first 25 issues aren't that good, and the next 25 are, there you go. There's our review on that one. Next up, I got Batman Dark Age #3. But yeah, I gave that one a 4 out of 5. Wolverine. So this Batman Dark Age #3. This is a weird fucking series. Still, I'm still enjoying it. But this is a weird Batman story being told here. But of course, you got Mark Russell did Superman Space Age along with Mike Allred. This is the same team teaming up to tell a Batman story. I can't say that I've loved this as much as a Superman Space Age story, just because I think it's a different type of story, because of course you're going to be using Batman here instead of Superman. I'm not even like a huge Superman fan, but I just think like some of the social commentary type of stuff that they're trying to insert into the story here, as they did similarly in Superman, doesn't work as well with Batman, because this story is a little bit about like corporations and like greed and this type of shit. And like, with the whole Bruce Wayne Enterprises type of aspect to this storyline, and how like Batman's come back to Gotham and he's trying to like, try to take down this evil organization that's taken over his company. But then he's also letting them do some shit so he can like funnel money in and help out his cause, because he needs the money in order to take them down. It's like a weird story being told here. And then there was a Superman scene in this where he actually sees Batman for the first time in this story. And it just reminded me of how much Superman, like how good of a Superman character that he writes, as opposed to the Batman, because he did the Superman Space Age series. So even this great Superman moment in this issue, I was just like, oh man, I wish this was just more Superman Space Age instead of the Batman story. So it kind of worked against itself in that sense for me. But it was a good moment. And then he kind of brought him to the Justice League. But then he kind of gets into these pockets of really interesting things too, aspects about this character as well, and like different types of looks, examinations of things in the comics. that I think Mark Russell is just very good at, and what makes him a unique writer compared to other superhero comic writers or just comic writers in general. There's a moment where he lets him into the Justice League, and like there's all this inner monologue shit with like Batman like not feeling the whole Justice League aspect, and we've seen that in the comics before too. But like he just doesn't like their approach, and he's like, I don't know why I'm here, kind of thing, and like he looks bored at the fucking Justice League meeting. He's like, this is like a council where they make decisions together, like almost like a UN. He's like, I don't understand, like why don't they just go out there and fucking help people? I'm wasting time being here. I should be out there on the streets saving people. So I kind of really liked that kind of thought process of the character in this story. It was really interesting. But then they go off and do some weird shit where you're just like, what the hell? Like, what kind of Batman story is this? So I don't know. But there's some great art by Mike Allred, some interesting writing. I give this a 3.75 out of 5 this week. It's an interesting story. I am enjoying it, but it's not, I think, a great representation of what most people think Batman is. So if you're you're into something a little outside of the norm, it's interesting and good. And next up, you got Universal Monsters, Creature from the Black Lagoon, #2. Sorry, Creature from the Black Lagoon Lives. Watch out. So this is the second issue in this series, and this is fine. I mean, it's I don't have the art for this one either. The art's good. I am enjoying the art. The story is just like, I guess a run-of-the-mill kind of story being told of, once again, this woman that was tracking down this drug dealer, that she was a journalist, and this drug dealer guy in some country that she was investigating. She has it out for him because he did something to her, and now she's like out to get revenge on him, and she's trying to track his movements in this country. And meanwhile, she comes across a place where the creature from the Black Lagoon lives, and now he's in the mix now in the story. Like you see him kind of making some appearances throughout this issue. And I don't know what the plan is for him or what he's gonna do. Maybe he's gonna aid her in catching this drug dealer in fucking Costa Rica or wherever the fuck she is in this book. I don't even know, but I can't even remember. But it's okay. I give it a 3 out of 5. It's not bad, but it's not like it's not. I've been giving these Universal Monsters books a try, but I haven't loved this one or the Dracula one as of yet. So there is a Frankenstein one that's coming up that's written and drawn by Michael Walsh, the artist that did the Silver Coin book I was a big fan of. So I'm hoping that's really good because there's somebody I really like on that book as opposed to these other ones. Although the Dracula one was James Tynan's, and that one was like good, but again, I just wasn't that interested in it. Maybe I'm not a huge fan of these Universal Monsters, the classic characters, as I think I am, right? Because these comics really haven't been like that interesting for me so far. Jackpot and Black Cat #3, Chris.
Once again, I'm just picking these up because they got sick covers.
Yeah.
Where's that cover? I got a Villalobos cover, I think it was. There we go. I can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, it's a good one.
But as for the story or as the comics go, I really hope this freaking Jackpot just becomes a freaking bad memory in a few years. Like, this has got the worst characters there. And at least they're written poorly, so it just reinforces everything that you don't like about any of them. Like, especially with Jackpot or Mary Jane here and that Paul character. They really jump them out in this story. And the stuff with I'm always a fan of Black. I just feel bad for Black Cat. I think she's getting caught in the crossfire here. And the story, it's just a crazy story here. I think in the last issue, it looked like that Black Cat was going to kind of pull a swerve on Mary Jane and kind of, go with her girlfriend there. And they're almost plotting against her. And they seem to walk that back pretty quickly in this story here. So, which was good to see. I'm a fan of Black Cat, and I don't want her to be, kind of pushed down a path where they can't bring her back from either.
I thought this was okay. For this issue, for me, I think it's finally coming together where there is a decent story being told, whereas I didn't feel like there was that much to grab onto the last couple of issues. But now I think we've moved along. I think this is only a 4-issue miniseries, right? So we've gotten to a point now where I think like, yeah, okay, this is a story. It's not bad. I thought there was some great art in this. There was some great scenes here.
Yeah.
This shot in particular, I thought was really good for reasons. I thought there was some good art here being showcased in this issue. But it wasn't bad. I think it could be a lot worse, to be honest with you.
Oh,
Like
for
I've
sure.
read a lot worse comics than this.
No, they should have Carlos Gomez doing this story.
I agree.
This would have been perfect for him. You can get him off Fantastic Four. They could have Joe Blow doing that. That's all going on writing anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. So what'd you give this out of 5?
3.5.
Yeah, I'll
Not
go down.
bad, but it's not good.
Yeah, I just think that they finally got to a point where in the story where like they got enough balls in the air now where they can actually do something with some of the plots they've established the last couple of issues. Because like up to this point, they're just setting everything up, and it was just like, okay, now there's a reason why there's a rift between their relationship with one another, why this person that she's seeing is a bad person, and this could all come crashing down and everything else, right? So, but there's only one more issue to go. So,
Yeah.
like you said, I think this is gonna get
It's almost to the point where it's so bad it's good now. Like with Jackpot and her stupid powers that don't make any sense.
Yeah.
And that stupid Paul character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're right, though. It'll be a distant memory at some point down the road.
Can't wait for that time.
Yeah. And finally, we got Ultimate Spider-Man number 5 this week.
Yep. It's got where is it? Yeah, just the A cover.
Yeah, same. What do you think, Chris?
So that's more of a Green Goblin or I guess a Harry Osborn sort of story, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And which is not too bad. It's kind of interesting into what's happening. I guess you can see how there's that brutal story there, brutal part there with when Harry Osborn or Norman Osborn is talking to his son there when he dies.
Yeah.
And he's giving him the freaking, he's just giving him grief the whole time, and then poof, he just vanishes. There was no redeeming him there either. So that was kind of fun to see.
No.
And then I guess you can see that once Harry Osborn kind of got control of the company, and he's finding all those nodes that has that proprietary, I don't know, those Pico suits or whatever that's going on out there, or this it's Oscorp tech that's out there. That was kind of fun where you just see there's like maybe like 5 little blips that popped up, and then near the end there's like hundreds popping up. And you kind of get the Kingpin in there, and I'm liking the way they're portraying the Kingpin here. So it's a good.
Yeah.
It's not like there's he's not being chumped out or anything. He's almost a better Kingpin here than he is in the regular world now.
It's a good
Kingpin here.
Yeah, good Kingpin. Yeah, and also like I liked again, like it is nice to see it from a different character's perspective, but I feel like as a result of seeing this issue from his perspective and learning about his backstory after really just seeing him in the last 2 issues, it seems like we're basically we haven't moved forward, it feels like, in terms of the story as of yet, even though like we are getting different parts of the story and story development over the last couple of issues, but we're bouncing back and forth. Like the way that he's approaching the story is just different, I feel like, than anything else. Where I think some people would complain that like we're not getting enough in this series, like not much has happened. Well, I quite enjoy any time we spend in this universe, honestly. Like I did like the part 2 about him discovering the Tony Stark's he had to buy it from the Kingpin, but as a result, this is why he has the Green Goblin armor that he now has, is because of all the Tony Stark tech. And not only that, I think the guy who's working for him is fucking Dr. Doom, which that's where he
gets Dr. Octopus.
Oh, no. Is it Dr. Octopus or Dr. Doom?
Is Otto.
Oh, Otto. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, which is like, where that's gonna go probably too.
Yeah, something's gonna happen there. He's gonna get those arms one way or another.
I mixed it up because Dr. Doom's in the Ultimate book now, right? Like, so that's supposed to be in the Ultimates because he's also in this universe, right? Like as well.
And then when these kind of universes do, these issues cross over.
Yeah,
I'm sure that James Stark is gonna come back for his company somehow.
Yeah, because they got bought out, him and Trask or whatever, right? I think one of those. Yeah, so Yeah, there's interesting stuff going on. I don't know. I always enjoy my time reading this book. I think it's like one of those ones that's just like always a good time.
Yeah, it's a nice world that they're building. Like if this Ultimate was just stuck in Ultimate Spider-Man, I would have been fine with that too. You know?
Same. Yeah, same. I think they've given us enough to like feel like it's a lived-in world with all these different things
Yeah.
going on, and yeah, there's some slow developments for stuff, but it's being told well. I think it's a good story that's happening here. I just think that you're gonna start hearing complaints about that about even me myself. I'm like, okay, these last couple of issues felt like we're living in the same moment, just from different perspectives and different
Yeah.
stories being told. Maybe it's time to progress here, because we're 5 issues in. But you know what? At the same time, I'm like, I can't say this was a bad issue either. So like, why am I gonna like complain about that, right? Because I think everything's been good so far. So it's like,
Yeah, and this is like with a writer, you can give as much rope as you want to. You know, he's not hanging himself.
yeah, absolutely. So it's good stuff.
And then if you don't, he's going to freaking just go, I'm out of here. You'll get some friggin' Joe Blow
Well,
and to
well,
try and finish the story, and it's going to be brutal.
that's why I hope he stays a while. And
Exactly.
that rumor that I heard about him leaving after the last arc is not the case, because he's already been solicited as the writer on the next couple of issues up to issue 8 or 9 at this point. So we're good. We're good at least for now, right?
Yeah, and at least hopefully this is just, it's one issue,
yeah,
one series. He doesn't have the weight of the fucking X-Men on his shoulders.
right.
Where he has to have 20 balls in the air. He's got to do one thing, and that's it. They'll give him the cash, and then the money he's probably making from this, he can go do his baloney stuff out there. He can go God's 4, whatever he wants to do.
I'm fine for however long the Hickman wants to stay on this book, and I hope he stays a while, because
I want a good run to like freaking 50.
Yeah, I've been thoroughly enjoying this. What'd you give this?
This issue itself, though, isn't the best, but I'll still give it a 4. It's
Same.
good.
Same. Yeah, I'll give it a 4 still, but I agree with you. This is lesser than the last couple of issues. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it for what we want to talk about this week that we read, guys. Let's take a look at what we're planning on reading next week. If you got your list there ready, Chris.
Up here.
I got mine open if you want me to go first.
Yeah, go ahead first if you want.
All right. So at least things I'm picking up physically here. I'm probably going to read some other things digitally online, but I got Batman 148, Birds of Prey 10, Amazing Spider-Man 51. I got a new Image series called Falling in Love on the Path to Hell, which is a Jerry Duggan book, which has something to do with samurais and cowboys meeting each other through time and like falling in love. So there's too many elements there, except for maybe the love shit, where I'm just like, oh, the samurais and cowboys, I'm in. So, and the first cover kind of looks like it's like Star Wars. So I'm really interested to see how that goes. And I like Jerry Duggan a lot. So we'll see how that goes. Then I got Get Fury #2. Very much looking forward to that. You got Kea 19, which unless they got resolicited here, this may have been the resolicited date, I think. So it comes out next week, I think. Scarlet #1 comes out next week. Big release. Oh, also Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is the alpha issue, comes out next week, which is going to be setting up, I think, a short story that sets up Jason Aaron's run. That comes out next week. That he'll be on I think in July. I think he starts the series. Ultimates #1. A lot of big releases next week. Then we got X-Men 35, the last issue of the Krakoa era, also by Jerry Duggan. And I also going to check out Wolverine Blood Hunt #1. I'm picking up the first issue of that, which I'm really looking forward to, because that the team on that is actually very good. So I'm going to check out. That's the only Blood Hunt tie-in I'm really checking out there. What do you got, Chris?
Yeah, I'll probably read Get Fury 2. Let's see. We got Amazing Spider-Man 51, Ultimates. Probably read some Venom. I'll try and read the Wolverine Blood Hunt.
Yeah.
See how it goes. X-Men 35, of course.
Yeah.
And we'll see what DC's got for me. Next page. Yeah, Batman 148. Been liking that. I'll try and get Birds of Prey in there if I see it around. Maybe Poison Ivy. I don't know. There's supposed to be some big things going on in there, but not much else from DC. What's going on with Image?
Scarlet.
Oh, Scarlet's coming up? Yeah. So I think I got a variant cover of that. And I don't know, maybe see the Scorch, see what's happening in there too.
Nice.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, not a big week, but that's good for me.
Yeah, I got a decent sized week. Yeah, not bad. Good, some good stuff coming out. A lot of starts and stops here. A lot of new.
Let's see what this Ultimates is about. This could be good.
I hope so, because we haven't really connected with the other two titles that have come out. Which tried both of them. Well, I don't know. Did you read Black Panther? Maybe I just did. I read the first
No.
issue. But from what I've been hearing, it's just okay after the first issue. But so I hope that this is a nice companion to the Spider-Man stuff, because I think as the Avengers title of this universe, it could serve like a lot of purposes. And
it's happening in the same city, so they should be
plus
over.
yeah. Plus, we liked the lead-in story that was in. There was some issue or something that had like a short story of the Ultimates in it. It was like one of those Marvel special things that we read recently, like an anniversary issue or something. I forgot what it was, but there was a short story that we read in something that we both really enjoyed. So I was like, and Dr. Doom was in that. Like he was, yeah. So I hope it's good. I hope it's good. Anyways, though, that's where we're looking forward to checking out next week, guys. Make sure to tune in for that. Our favorite book of this week, though, what do we got here?
I don't know. It's a tough week.
Yeah, there's a lot of contenders.
I think I'm gonna have to give it to this one here. I got mine chosen.
All right, go ahead.
I'm giving it to Wolverine.
Yeah.
The end of the series. That's the way to end it. Go out with a bang.
There was a lot of we gave out quite a few 4s, actually. A lot of good books here, 4.25 type ratings books here this week. Some good stuff. What's that?
I smell a grommet.
Yeah, but you got to go with grommet. You got it. Yeah. Again, it's just unique, I think. And I'm into the story that they're trying to tell here. And I used to skateboard, and yeah, it's got to go with grommets. But honestly, like, it's just a well-told story so far, I think. And it's enjoyable and it's fun. And even if you're not into skating or you didn't skateboard, I think you could get something out of this, honestly. And it's just, there's no other books out there like that. So of course, in a week of like, yeah, this was a good end to the series, this was good, this was really solid, blah blah blah, this is a standout amongst everything for me. So yeah, Grommet's number one. You got it. Yeah, Grommet's number one. But right. I had to give it up to that. But Drawing Blood, though, was really good this week. Wolverine was good. Even Avengers Twilight, Rise of Power of X. There was some good stuff here this week. So, yeah, definitely go check those out, guys, if you need some suggestions for things to pick up. All right, but that's going to do it for this week. Thank you, everybody. Checks the show out and like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And we'll see you next week here, as always. Thank you, Chris.
All right. Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.